Today's episode is all about taking a step back and looking at the fitness industry from a bigger perspective. And I've got a guest who'll tell us all about it. Let's dive in. If you're a dance or fitness instructor who wants to grow your classes, boost income, and turn your passion into a real business, you're in the right place. Each week, I'll share the exact strategies, lessons, and truth smacks from building a thriving belly dance fitness brand. We'll dive into what actually fills classes and keeps students coming back so that you can build a profitable instructor career. So, lace up those sneakers and pull on those dance shoes. It's time to build the business you deserve. I'm Orit, and welcome to DanceFit Biz Builders. Hello and welcome to DanceFit Biz Builders. I'm Orit, your host, and I'm super excited to have my guest today. So today's guest has a perspective that very few people in our industry have. While many of us are focused on what's happening inside our classes, she has a bird's eye view of the fitness industry as a whole. This is Amy Boone Thompson. She's the owner and CEO of IDEA Health and Fitness Association, the world's leading organization for fitness and wellness professionals, serving more than 300,000 members globally. Now, with more than 30 years in the fitness industry, Amy has done it all, from instructor, presenter, brand builder, and industry leader. And today we're going to be talking about the future of fitness, what Amy sees from her unique vantage point, the challenges and opportunities facing instructors, what creates retention, what great teachers do differently, and the conversations our industry should be having more often. Amy, welcome to DanceFit Biz Builders.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be with you today.
Awesome. So am I. And so before we get into it, Amy, for those who may not know your story, how did you find your way into the fitness industry?
So I think like many people who have early beginnings in athletics, I was always moving. I was always playing a sport. I'm 6 feet tall. So for those who don't know, you can't see through the screen. So while I wanted to be a dancer, my mom quickly informed me that it might be better to pursue maybe a sport in basketball or volleyball. By the way, dance is still my secret passion. I want to be a Zumba or dance instructor when I retire.
Nice.
Yes. So I actually found my way to college athletics. I played basketball and volleyball Division I at George Mason University. And when I graduated, I decided to do a degree in physical and health education, K through 12. We did not have an exercise science or kinesiology department at the time. They do now, but the pathway that I saw, I thought, well, maybe I could coach. Of course, I wanted to eventually be a mother, and I thought that a career taping ankles and teaching and coaching might be a good way to go. However, I never did ever teach in public schools. I did my student teaching, and then I took a job in an all women's athletic club in Chantilly, Virginia. And that was really the turning point where I realized that I really wanted to be in a high energy fitness club environment. So for over 30 years now, I've found a career path in clubs and around clubs and with clubs, and now supporting clubs.
That's wonderful. Wonderful. Well, what a great story of how you got into the fitness industry. But you know what's really interesting? You're 6'1" and want to be a dancer.
Yes.
I am 4'10", and and I was a dancer in New York City for about 10 years. It was a struggle because of my height. So how interesting. And we
Yeah.
both got into fitness.
Yeah. Your mom was like, you might be too small. And my mom was like, you might be too tall.
Exactly. But you know what, though? In fitness, Amy, it is performance oriented. So it was kind of nice. I got that creative outlet. You?
Yes, absolutely. I feel like we get to express ourselves through movement every day, and I do that. Like that's the beauty of group fitness is really just that ability to move freely. And there's actually not much that makes me happier than watching, particularly women in a dance or movement class, moving their bodies freely and without judgment. It's nothing makes me happier, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. Really expressive. It's nice. Now, Amy, did you ever imagine your career would lead to idea?
Well, it's interesting. I moved from the DC area to San Diego in 1997, and that's when I started at the club that I consider where I grew up, and had a lot of different roles. And at the time, right when I moved, my fitness manager at the club, she said, "You need to come to this conference. You need to join IDEA and start reading their publications." IDEA is based in San Diego, so they were a home organization, but already this would have been what, 15 years into their existence. And they were already growing and having amazing conferences. So that very first summer, I went to an IDEA event. We slept four to a room. We went to every class. We had like coolers of food in our room. We couldn't afford to eat out. Like we were all just broke fitness professionals. But it was that time when I found my fitness family. So over the years, I've always been connected to IDEA, no matter my role in an organization. Even when I was doing business development for Les Mills, I still went to IDEA. Even when I was working as COO of Fit for Mom, I still went to IDEA. It did not matter my role, but IDEA was always the place where I was inspired, where I found my people, if you will, and where I got just really all the tools that I needed to be successful. So no, I never thought the opportunity would come. I never thought the organization would be for sale. I never thought any of those things would happen. But what I've learned is if you are aligning yourself with your purpose and passion, and you're always thinking forward, progressing forward, these opportunities come in, often you don't expect them to, but they come when you're in alignment with your purpose and passion.
Amazing. And Les Mills. Like we have people who listen to this podcast who want to become presenters, who want to be leaders in the industry. How did you get into Les Mills?
Yeah. And by the way, IDEA helps people to get on stages to become authors. So if you are someone who is aspiring to be a writer or a presenter, please, please, please reach out to us so we can make sure you have every opportunity to apply. But Les Mills was actually the job I had right before IDEA found me. And I worked with a headhunter at that time. I had been a personal training director, Group X director for large club chains for a lot of my years at that time. And I recognized that I needed to get global exposure. I wanted to see the supplier side of the business because I had always been what you would call a buyer, a club operator, but I had never worked with someone who was providing product or service to the clubs. And so it was kind of out of curiosity, but also knowing that if I wanted to have longevity in the industry, I needed to keep myself growing and challenged and inspired. So I did work with a headhunter. The opportunity came to lead. I was working the whole western part of the US, and I was only responsible for the large club chains because that had been my experience working with those large club chains. So I was actually going in to meet with the decision makers and try to get the Les Mills licenses into those clubs. Um, it was such an incredible opportunity, first, just to see that organization and the affinity and love and loyalty that they have globally. Again, I got global exposure. My colleagues are all over the country at that time, and that really helped position me to be a leader at IDEA as well. And lastly, like I didn't know what a quarterly was. For those who are listening, wow. I mean, it was equivalent. It rivals what an IDEA world feels like, but everybody's doing the same class. Like imagine everybody in the same classroom doing the same thing, and the energy was just incredible. So I love my Les Mills family. I probably would still be there if I hadn't been recruited to come to IDEA.
You know, what's great is that you really thought out of the box. And not that it's really out of the box. I think fitness professionals feel like they need to do more of the same. You can go into behind the scenes, you can go into programming, you can go to the business side of it. I love that. You dabbled in everything.
Yeah. I think it's about, for me at least, it was about being really intentional about my career. At the time, I guess I was my early 40s, not that age matters, but I had been doing the same thing for so many years. And I needed a challenge. And I also, I took, I gave myself an Amy retreat, which is where I have time for myself to really do some introspection, but also, I took several people who I confided in and trusted, took them to lunch to kind of interview them about what they saw my skill sets to be and where they thought maybe I could contribute to the industry in a different way. So it was both listening to the people around me who my mentors and advisors who I trusted, what they saw, but also spending a lot of time really searching my own heart and what do I want next from this career. Do I want to stay in fitness and wellness? Because mind you, I've never done anything else. Like I've only been, I told you from college, I came right into this industry. I've never done anything different. So it was a really pivotal point, but I think it was about being intentional about what's next for you and what's going to light you up, what's going to be aligned with your purpose and passion, and where you feel you can contribute.
Nice. Amazing. Thank you for that. I would love to go into now formats, certifications. I would love to know your perspective. Do you think the industry spends enough time teaching instructors how to teach versus what to teach?
Okay, so this is an interesting because I just shared I worked with a branded program, and these are where you go learn a specific format out of the box, if you will. But I also grew up in the era where we were designing and creating our own choreography. And so I have both perspectives. I think either are great. I love that people are welcomed into our industry in any of these formats or coming in and designing their own program. But I do think that a lot of um, the educational tracks that you would experience today are really focused on teaching you what to teach and not as much how to be a quality instructor, the cueing, the but beyond that, it's the connection and the emotional IQ of an instructor. And I know we'll talk more about qualities that I see that make the best instructors, but I don't know that we're spending enough time talking about the intangibles that make an instructor great versus just the technical aspect of you need to do this, this, and this in this song, and then you're going to move here. Both are important, don't get me wrong, and both are great entryways into the industry. But for a well rounded instructor who's really truly helping the students to achieve or to have retention and engagement, I think that definitely it's a good to have both.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's great to have both. Back in the day when I got certified, they were teaching me how, why. So what happened there? Do we need to go back to that? Or do people need to get certified in the format and then try to find a mentor to help them?
So that's partly what we do at IDEA because we are agnostic in this space. We work with all certifying agencies. We work with instructors all over the world. We work with all formats and all modalities. So what we focus on is just exactly what you described. We are focused on making the instructor a better instructor, and that is through everything in preparing for a class, how you start a class, how you engage with the students, and then we go into the technical aspects, of course, the timing, the music, the cueing, and then how do you end a class? And how do you build a community around your class? That's what we do at IDEA because we are thinking about how do we improve our instructors and keep them in this industry longer and have them be wildly successful. So that's a place where you could get it if you come to an IDEA event or if you join our online community. That's how we really approach our education. But I think I applaud any way that you came into the industry, but be intentional about your own development and what do you need to be a well-rounded instructor. If you're great technically, but you might lack the soft skills, then that's an area for you to improve, and vice versa. If you are all cheerleader and no technical, then you probably won't keep students as long. So I think it's about you recognizing where your weaknesses may be and being intentional about getting that education.
Agreed. But yet sometimes people don't even recognize where they need help. Sometimes I feel like when people get certified in a format and they don't learn the soft skills, I feel like they're not set up for success. And what happens is that they leave the industry because they're like, oh, it's too hard. I couldn't retain people. So I think as an industry as a whole, we can do some work there in keeping those people.
I agree. And I think what we've seen, particularly post COVID era, is that a lot of club chains have eliminated the fitness manager, the group fitness manager role, or they've pulled way back on hours. And it's kind of been cyclical. When I first entered the industry, there was no group fitness manager. It was like the GM did everything. Then we wanted PT to be a profit center. So we hired personal training managers. And then we recognize that group fitness is your retention center. Like this is what keeps your members. So then clubs were offering full-time positions to Group X managers. And then because of budget restraints or whatnot, a lot of those roles were eliminated. So we are seeing some large club chains bringing those back per club or having one GFM oversee several locations. But the reason I bring that up as a challenge of our industry is that a lot of instructors are not getting good feedback. They're not getting coaching. And even when they are, oftentimes those GFMs don't have the best training to be able to coach and upskill and help instructors. So if you lack a skill and no one's coaching you through that or helping you, then it is easy to get frustrated. One of the things I loved about my role at Les Mills, not to just harp on them, but they have an entire GFM training that I was able to help with that program. I didn't create it, but I was bringing that program to the US. And I got to go into clubs and help upskill, up level, and teach these GFMs how do you build a timetable or a schedule that's going to support the instructors and the members that you have, but also bring in people from the community that aren't otherwise coming. How do you evaluate a class? How do you give feedback to an instructor so they can improve? So I think an industry challenge that we're facing right now is that there aren't a lot of GFMs in clubs, and where there are, they're not getting effective training to be able to support our instructors.
Yeah, great. We have more work there. And I look forward to that. You know, we're always growing and learning as a whole. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm just curious, Amy, are there any trends in fitness that concern you? Are you seeing people prioritizing entertainment over effectiveness?
I think a lot of the best brands are doing it together. They're doing both. But I can see, there was this whole period of time where people were just hiring baristas and actors, and because they could provide experience and fun, but maybe didn't have any knowledge or credentials or training. But I think we've leveled that out somewhat. I think now we're finding that it's a good balance of both. But bigger trends, you know what, because I have the exposure to other continents and countries, it's really interesting and fascinating to me to see what is trending in other countries versus in the US. And we're often known as the innovators, like things that start in LA and New York, then infiltrate through the US and then into other countries. And I see that. But in my work with South Korea and Asia, Pilates and bar and mind body classes are really having a moment right now, and they have been for several years. So it's just interesting where we might be doing other things in this country. They skip and jump to other countries. So I don't know if that's trend, but it's what's trending in those countries, and I think it's fascinating to travel and see those different trends.
Yeah, you know what? I was reading the 2026 industry trend report here in the States, and I read that people are now gravitating toward bar and Pilates. What do you think that's attributing to?
The people it's attracting primarily are your middle-aged women, as
Mm.
from what I'm seeing. But now the younger women are attracted to a lot of those formats and programs. So in South Korea, it's all the 20s somethings, the young ladies that are attracted to the physique that they feel they might achieve from those classes. And listen, bar's been around for quite some time here in the US, but it really hadn't been, I hadn't seen it in any of the conferences I had attended until more recently. So it's just interesting to see what's trending where. But whenever I think the franchises lead a lot of the trending. Like if it's not accessible or available to you, then you wouldn't have exposure to it. And then is there training and is there marketing behind it? Like are consumers even asking for it because they don't know it exists or they see it exists? With the internet and social media, now these trends can travel much more quickly, further, faster because people can see these types of classes are available and they're either asking for it or looking for it in their own communities.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. For me, when I'm working in the gyms, if I may give my perspective on why I think
Yeah.
Pilates, yoga, and bars exploding more than dance fitness, I'm sensing that people need more structure and they need more guidance. Are they doing it right? That's just the feeling that I get when I enter these rooms.
Yeah.
That's
And then mat Pilates versus the reformer Pilates, that is typically you'll have one coach per, small group. Club Pilates, I think they have what, 6 or 8 reformers per instructor, whereas mat you can get a bigger class and maybe not get quite as much guidance. I think there's an element to that. People appreciate the cueing, the coaching. They appreciate the higher supported and guided programs as well.
Do you think there's anything else that you see instructors struggling with now, that weren't 10 or 20 years ago?
Absolutely. There's this thing called the internet that
Yeah.
didn't exist.
Mhm.
So it's so funny when I think back to early in my career when we wanted to grow a class, like we actually had to get a photograph of us teaching the class and then Xerox copy it. Even this was even before we had digital copies, and then you would distribute it around the town, right? You'd go to the coffee shop, hey, come to my class. But now, of course, the instructors that have popularity or have a following are able to grow their classes maybe more quickly, and those who don't or who are new to the industry are struggling with that and struggling to find, like, how do I promote my class? How do I get beyond the 4 people who are my friends and family that I can get to come in? How do you get the rest of the membership or the word of mouth out? And so I do think instructors really struggle with finding their identity online, bringing truly attracting people to their class. And then there's always the challenge of growing it fast enough so it doesn't get eliminated or that you don't get eliminated. I just came back from, I was keynoting at the Warrior Conference. So the Warrior Conference was about 50 instructors coming together who all teach that concept, and there's multiple modalities that she teaches, but the instructors at that event were pointing out the same thing. We know that the more popular instructors have bigger followings. How do I get a following? It doesn't feel authentic to me if I'm putting my voice out in the world in a certain way. I want it to be authentic. And so that's what we were really trying to help those instructors to figure out, is like, how do you put your most authentic self out in social media that might attract people to your classes without um making it feel icky, like that icky feeling, like this doesn't feel natural to me, it doesn't feel right, but I want to attract my community to come enjoy class with me in my club. How do I get them to come and experience this and be part of our circle? So I would say that's the biggest probably difference now versus then, that instructors are really challenged with.
Yeah, I think just because we're so inundated with so many types of instructors,
Yeah.
I think really showing your uniqueness is going to make you stand out.
Totally agree.
Yeah. But then once you show your uniqueness and they come in, how do you retain them?
How do
Right?
you retain them?
Yeah.
And to me, that's where the special sauce comes together. So, to be a great quality instructor, to be able to cue people where they are, we always say meet them where they are, no matter what they come in with, their abilities, their disabilities, their challenges, their skill level, their fitness level, meet them where they are and coach them to so they feel success. They feel success from that class, not that you felt successful, like, look at me, I'm the best instructor. Did that person feel successful at the end of the 30 minutes or the 60-minute class? And then did you make an effort to connect with them as an instructor? And did you connect them with other people in your class? So I grew up in Fit for Mom. When I was having my little babies, I was teaching Fit for Mom instructors and actually teaching class here at SeaWorld and at the San Diego Zoo. But I would teach instructors. I'm like, I know that the very best classes aren't about every student connecting with me, because I have a relationship with everyone as an instructor. I know everyone in the class because it's my job. I get paid to know everyone in the class. But the best instructors are the ones that help that participant, or in my case, the mommy, to connect with three other mommies. If she met three other mommies in the class and felt a genuine connection, she's going to come back. She's going to come back. It wasn't about, I just want to come back for Amy, the instructor. She wanted to come back for Sally and June and April, let's say. She wanted to come back for those relationships and the connection she felt to the other people in the class. And the same thing is true in a mainstream class, or in if you're teaching in your garage or wherever you're teaching. The secret is to connect them to other people in the class. That's how you build community, not just a relationship with instructor, but a relationship with others in the class.
So, folks, it's not the playlist, it's not the choreography, it's success, it's the connection, it's the community. Boy, we do a lot as instructors, don't we?
Yes, we do. Yeah. And success, like we said, like that's going to be unique for each person. And for in that mommy community, success was getting your baby out of the house and just making it there, right? And it's success for someone coming to a high intensity training class. It might be feel different and look different. Like they want to be able to do the level 3 stuff in the class. So knowing your participants and knowing how to get a little more from them, or sometimes not. Sometimes it's just helping them enjoy the moment, be in the moment. And sometimes you need to pull some stuff out of people in order for them to feel successful. But again, the relationship that you build with them and with others in the class is going to help inform what equals success for your participants.
Thank you. So let's talk about the fitness industry as a whole. What conversations should we be having more often?
Well, I think right now there's just so much hype about AI and what does it mean, and especially for the personal trainer side of the business. And I for years now, people can get fitness online if they want. So for me, the AI conversation is really, it goes back to, are you creating personal connections? Because AI can't do that. So that is a big point of conversation that I keep hearing again and again. And there's the alarmists who are saying it's going to replace our job. And I say, not if you do your job well, it could actually enhance your job. So AI is a big conversation going on right now. We have, again, if you think about what really will help instructors stay in the industry, to me, I look at retention, because we need more instructors and professionals to stay in this industry longer. And some people do this for different reasons and have different definitions of their own success. And for some people, they want one class a week and they do another full-time job, and other people really need to make ends meet and have a full-time career. So we still at IDEA, we're still trying to help solve the problems of making sure people have liability insurance and health insurance and the basics and better pay. So we do compensation and benefit surveys every 5 years, so we can make sure that that clubs are elevating pay, and that they have good pay models to look to when they are making changes in their clubs. So from my view, those are the kinds of problems we're trying to help solve. And then up leveling, not just keeping people in the industry longer, but helping them be better instructors, because ultimately our jobs are to help get people engaged into fitness, wellness, and movement. And so the more people will come back and the more they engage with our classes, the more success they'll have. That creates a ripple effect in their own house and in their own community. And then we have healthier communities overall. So that's the ultimate prize, is that we have healthier communities. And how do you do that as an instructor? By further engaging your participants, so it creates that ripple effect in their own household and in their own community.
So you produce the IDEA convention every year. That's quite a feat.
Yes.
Okay. And I know after COVID, people were really used to, working out online, learning online. and the convention scene kind of had a dip as far as attendees.
Yep.
Are you seeing that come up again?
Yeah, we are. Now, so our event, if you've never been to an Idea World convention, our event is about 3 to 4 days long, and we don't do any specific niche. We have something for everybody. So there's a business track, there's a science and theory track, there's a mind body track. You can do workouts, workshops, or lectures, and we have the giant expo, and then there's the parties and the dancing and the awards. And it really, really is an incredible event that takes the team a full year to plan. Um, but we did see a little dip in attendance. The first year back, it was because people were still scared to come together. We were all in masks that year in 2022. So it was that one was a little bit odd, but we still saw a lot of people come back and had missed their community. And then we are seeing that, yes, people have so many options online. In fact, IDEA's been producing online education since 2010. So we know people have options online. I have 900 courses and 15,000 articles for online learners, and we have had. So, what we believe the in person events serve and how they serve is that they're helping one to provide a network for our fitness professionals. And the learning is very different. Learning online is very different than having a presenter or coach work with you in person. It's no different than what we're selling as fitness professionals. Most of us are teaching in person, and we are selling a product or a service that you experience in person. And to be able to coach someone and teach someone online versus in person is very different. It's the same for education for us learning at our conferences. You can learn online. There's nothing wrong with that. We do it too. But there's an in-person option, which is just a very different learning experience. So we definitely want people to have both in their lives, and we hope that more and more people are coming back to in-person events. We are seeing the smaller events around the country, the regional events that see, between 1 and 300 people. Those ones are getting back to capacity in some states and in some areas. And then all of the events that serve the executives in the industry are coming right back to where they were pre-COVID. So I'm confident that there's still a place for in-person events, like for all the reasons I just mentioned, but mainly for the community and the network and the relationships that you do build at these events.
Absolutely. And I do have to say, those who were listening, I presented an idea in 2010, a really long time ago, and it was fabulous. It was huge. All the international presenters, oh my God, I was like a kid in a candy store. And you are right about the networking. Because I presented there, I got an opportunity to teach at AFA Japan because one of the
Wow.
attendees came to one of my classes. I was like, wow, this is amazing. So go to IDEA, folks. It's an amazing convention. Thank you for doing what you do.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, it's exciting, and we do bring people together from all over the world. The networking is incredible. Every superstar that you've grown up watching is usually there, and you can take class with them. And guess what? They want to meet you. They want to talk to you in the elevator. They want to see you in the lobby or whatnot. So it's so much fun.
Amy, I like to end these interviews with something actionable for our listeners. Anything from teaching to business. What could you give them today that they can do right away to see results?
Okay, so I will offer that exactly the exercise that I went through that I described when I was at a crossroads in my career, thinking, should I leave the fitness industry for my next experience or should I stay in the industry? And that is to set aside some time to be intentional. And we talked about doing introspection and doing the extra spection, I guess, meaning find people that you trust in your life who are going to give you honest feedback. Here at IDEA, we just started a fitness mentor network. We have mentors now who guide people through these crossroads or these sticking points in their careers. And they'll really give you an outsider's perspective about where you can improve and approach or grow. But you don't need to come to our program to do it. You can use people that you trust that will give you honest feedback. And then at the same time, take the time for yourself to step away from your family, from your job, quiet time, quiet your mind, and really truly do some soul searching about what puts that fire in your belly, because you want to add more of that into your life, and what is it that you're curious about and that gets you kind of out of your comfort zone, so you're learning again, you're growing. Those are the things you want to lean into. That's what I would encourage you to do, is to take that time. I usually do it once a year, where I go through this exercise. Where am I? Where am I going? Am I still in alignment with my purpose and passion? Am I excited about the work I'm doing? And am I curious? And that's what I would offer.
And can you tell our listeners about the book that you just released?
Oh, I'd love to. So we wrote a collaborative book. It's called Inspire the World to Fitness, which has been IDEA's trademarked mission statement for many, many years. And what we did was we pulled together 10 of our award recipients who have very different journeys in the fitness industry. And we invited them to write a chapter. We didn't give them a lot of instruction. And the chapters all came together. They meld together so nicely around that theme of inspiring the world to fitness. And actually the intro was written by Elaine Lane, who's now 100 years old, who we give an award on stage every year in hers and Jack's honor. She wrote the foreword, and in her foreword, she shared this message about paying it forward, passing it on. And it was really evident in every person's chapter that not only did they receive from other people in the industry, they received from mentors, they received from a coach, they received from people at Idea World, but then they were able to pass that on to the next generation. And so I know you'll love it. I hope you do. It's on Amazon. It's actually a bestseller in 2 categories on Amazon, and you can order a paperback as well. But I do hope that your listeners will consider picking it up. I think it's an easy read, but you're going to get some inspiration.
I will put the link on Amazon in the show notes.
Perfect.
And would you like to give our listeners a link of yours? I can just put in the show notes as well.
Yeah. Go to ideafit.com. That's where you'll learn everything. We have a link for the book there as well. And then get involved with us. We exist for you. We exist for every fitness professional, personal trainer, instructor in the world. We have a lot of resources for you. So please at least check it out, see what we're doing, and consider coming to an event.
Yes, thank you. It was such a pleasure to speak to you, and an honor, a privilege. Thank you so much,
Oh,
Amy.
thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here.
Of course, and I would love for you to take us out with our signature outro.
Okay, listeners, until next time, go out and kick some ass.
Woohoo! Thank you, Amy.
That was fun. Thank you.